You open the app, not because you need something, just to see what's there. A face, someone yelling, a crowd forming, and the camera's shaking like whoever's filming is running. And it looks real. And then the next clip, maybe a celebrity saying something just absolutely crazy. 15,000 comments later, half believe it, half don't. And you're not sure when this happened, or even if it happened at all. Next, you see buildings collapsing, smoke, screaming, maybe war footage, maybe a movie, maybe something generated last night because the algorithm knew it would stop you. And you don't verify, you just keep moving. And your thumb does not ask permission anymore. Eventually, you close the app, and your body's buzzing, and your mind just feels blank. The room's silent, and if somebody asks you what you were just looking at, you couldn't tell them. You remember feelings, you remember shock, confusion, anger, but not events, not details, not what actually happened. Not sure what is real, not sure if any of this is even worth the space it takes up in your mind. And the question online used to be, can I trust this? Is this a reliable source? And now it's, is this even real? And if you're not sure, why can't we stop watching? This shift is everything. One question assumes someone chose to lie to you, and the other assumes you're surrounded by things that were never made by a person at all. AI slop is not a future problem. It's the texture of our feeds right now. And your mind, body, and nervous system is starting to feel the difference, even if you can't name it yet. You know, there was a version of the internet that felt different. If you were online in the late 90s or early 2000s, you lived through it. A strange, short window. The web was rough, unpolished, sites were ugly, forums were niche, and YouTube was new and nobody knew what it was going to be. But you could feel the person on the other side of this content. You know, somebody filmed a cool skateboarding trick and uploaded it because 5 of their friends asked. Someone wrote a blog at 2 a.m. about a breakup or a book or an idea they couldn't stop thinking about. Or somebody made a tutorial for a video game because they couldn't find the information anywhere else. And the internet used to be a place where people felt oddly real. You know, even though you couldn't see them, they felt real. And it was not designed to keep you there. It was not optimized for your time. It was just people making things and putting them out into the world because they wanted to be seen or heard or understood. And that feeling is almost gone. Not because people stopped wanting connection, but because the system that delivers the internet has stopped rewarding it. You know, we saw platforms taking over. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And at first, it seemed like an upgrade. More reach, more people, more possibilities. But quietly, the goals have changed. The internet is no longer about connecting people. It's about keeping them inside these platforms. And the way you keep somebody inside a platform is not by giving them depth. It's by giving them a constant feed of stimulation. Short bursts, high motion, fast loops, and the algorithm does not care what you learn or who you meet. It cares how long you stay, and it'll show you whatever makes that happen. This is the first wave of slop. Clickbait, outrage, manufactured just drama, content design to make you feel something for 5 seconds and then just disappear from your memory. And even before AI, the internet was already drifting from human to performative, from connection to distraction, and something that expands you. I went from something that expands you to something that just kind of occupies you. Most people can feel it, but they can't name it. A vague sense of scrolling that's just leaving people hollowed out. That the internet used to feel different, that something has just shifted. And if you feel that, you're not alone. And now we have AI, and it's not replacing the internet. It's just accelerating what's already happening, because now you don't need a human to create the content that keeps people scrolling. You just need a prompt. AI can generate a video that looks like breaking news, a face that looks like a celebrity, a moment that looks like it was caught on somebody else's phone at exactly the right time. And the cost is near zero. And the result is convincing enough that most people can't tell the difference while scrolling through their feed. And as of now, there's no perfect way to detect this at scale. Tools exist, policies exist, but they lag behind the generation and they miss more than they catch. And platforms are not structured to solve these problems because solving it would mean slowing down the feed. And slowing down the feed means losing attention and losing money. So the slop gets promoted. Real moments sit next to fake ones. Human faces sit next to generated ones. And the algorithm does not care which is which. It only cares what keeps you watching. And the question is not, is this real? The question is, does this look real enough to keep you here? And that is the only question the feed is built to answer. Not, is this real? Not, does this matter? Just, does this perform? And AI slopification is not just ugly content flooding the internet. It's the slow replacement of human-made reality with machine-generated stimulation. Not all at once, not with some dramatic shift, just one small swap at a time until real starts to become like a genre, not the default. And most people will not notice it as a sudden break. They'll notice it as a feeling that is starting to spread. You know, you watch a video and it makes you feel something, shock, curiosity, anger, and then it ends and you scroll to the next one. Same cycle, different topic, same spike, and pretty soon an hour passes and you close the app and you feel nothing. Not informed, not connected, not even entertained in a way that like sticks. Just overstimulated and empty. Like you were inside something loud for a long time and now the silence just feels super weird. And your body just ends up wired, but your mind is just flat. And you can't explain why you feel worse than you started. And that's what Slop does. It's not that every video is fake. It's the environment is optimized for reaction over depth, for stimulation over meaning, for keeping you inside the feed instead of giving you something worth remembering. And when AI makes that environment almost free to feed, the internet becomes less about people and more about patterns the algorithm knows will work. The more you scroll, the harder it becomes to trust what you're seeing, not because you're like, paranoid, but because the internet is being rebuilt on a different assumption. It's no longer assuming that humans are talking to humans. It's starting to assume that content is talking to your attention, and your attention does not care if the content is real. It just cares if it is stimulating enough to keep you from leaving. And this does something to creators. They put in real time, real effort, real thought, and they film something human, something that matters to them, something that took hours or even days to make, and they upload it. And it drops into a feed next to 1,000 AI generated clips designed to spike emotion every 3 seconds. Explosions, screams, twists, loops, and the algorithm does not know they worked harder. It does not know theirs is real. It just knows which one people watch longer. And if the synthetic content performs better, that is what's going to get pushed. And they're not competing with other people anymore. They're competing with machines that can generate endless variations of what already works. And creators will kind of feel flattened, not because they're not good enough, but because the system does not need them the way they used to. It does not need anyone. It just needs content that holds attention. And when the machines can do that for faster and cheaper than humans, the value of being human in that space will start to collapse. And it does something to the viewers too. You used to scroll and feel like you were seeing people. You're seeing their lives, their ideas, their mistakes, and their creativity. And now you scroll and you're not sure what you're seeing. A moment that might be real, a face that might be fake, a story that might be just completely generated. It all blends together. And after a while, your nervous system will stop trying to figure out what is real. It'll just start to accept that most of it probably isn't. And when that becomes the baseline, something else happens. You stop caring. Not consciously, not all at once, but slowly. The internet is starting to stop feeling like a place where meaning happens. It's starting to feel like a stream of noise you move through out of habit. Because if everything could be fake, then nothing feels worth protecting. Nothing feels worth defending. Nothing feels worth your full attention anymore. And the internet does not just lose quality as AI slop takes over. It loses the thing that made it worth having in the first place. The feeling that somewhere on the other side, there's somebody listening. And if that feeling begins to die, what you're left with is not connection. It's a synthetic type of simulation that's just empty. And when the feed is becoming mostly synthetic, people will split. Some will lean into it. They'll treat it like background noise, something that runs, while they're doing other things. Endless stimulation with low attachment. Nothing sticks, nothing matters. It just fills time. And I think that's where a lot of people are right now. Others will start to drift out, not loudly, not with some announcement, just a quiet shift of where their attention goes. They'll stop opening the app as much. They'll stop trusting the feed. They'll start looking for spaces that still feel human. Small corners, quieter platforms. And they'll go to places where they can still feel someone on the other side. Or they'll leave the internet completely and turn it into books, turn it into walks, conversations that aren't recorded. And the question is not which path is better. The question is, which one are you sliding into? And you're not crazy for feeling like the internet got worse. You lived through something rare, a rise of global connection. The moment when it felt like anybody could reach and connect with anyone instantly. Now you're beginning to watch the start of its synthetic phase, where the default is shifting away from people talking to people, and it's moving towards machine-generated content for algorithms that optimize to keep you there for profit. AI will stay, the feeds will stay, the platforms will only get stronger, and the only thing that'll move will be attention. What you give it to, who you give it to, and which spaces you decide still feel real. And as slop becomes the default, anything genuinely human will start to become rare. Some people will treat the new synthetic internet as just how things are. Others will start looking for its edges, places where people still gather, where efforts still matter, and where you can still feel someone on the other side. Most people will not realize they made a choice, but one day you'll notice something. Your feed will stop pulling you. You stop believing it, and your attention will start moving elsewhere. Not because somebody told you to, but because your nervous system finally learned what your mind already knew. That you're never looking for the right piece of content. You were looking for people and connection all along.